What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This morning it's Sunday and it's raining here in Michigan, so I figured why not get out here, let's work on the car, do a couple things. So since the last video update, basically what's happening here is we still have an issue with our alternator not working. So I think I might actually start to pull this off today. It looks pretty simple, literally just pop the belt off, and then we've got 2 bolts holding it to the car, 1 connector, super simple, and then the battery, the actual battery cable that's bolted to it. So I don't see that taking more than 10 or 15 minutes, easy access, so no problem there. The other thing that came in are some new battery cable connectors. I'll show you guys those in just a second. And I think that's really, well, I think that's about it. The other thing I am going to change, so I found out by talking to some of the guys on the Gen 5 Facebook groups. So I think I told you guys in the last video the car's staying around 210 degrees. And so I found out that that's pretty normal. So apparently the original, the OEM thermostat that's in these engines is something like starts opening at like 194. So it fully opens by like 207. So a lot of guys were saying that's pretty common to see, 210, 220. One guy was saying he even sees 230. So seems very, very high, compared to like old school cars like my Mustang and my Valiant, where when I drive those, they don't get over, 170, 175. So, but there is a solution if I wanted to run a little bit cooler. There are lower degree opening thermostats out there, like a 160. So I think that's what I may do. I may end up actually just dropping this lower radiator hose, get all the coolant out, and then literally just pop these 3 bolts off this thermostat cover and go ahead and just pull out the thermostat, run up to the hardware store, parts store, and go ahead and get a new thermostat. I think that may be the way to go, because I just don't want to run into any issues with overheating, any problems like that. So I think we may do that today too. We'll see, but definitely I like to just get this pulled off. That way we're ready to swap it out. I am going to have to order probably an alternator, so hopefully that'll be here in the next couple days. So get that swapped. The battery cables are just something I want to do, and I'll show you why here in a second. So anyway, let's get started. I'll get you guys a little bit closer view to see what I'm doing. So again, fellas, with the alternator on these Gen 5 motors, at least on this truck motor application, it's super simple. We're literally just got a bolt here and a bolt here, and this is going to come right out. We'll just knock this nut off for the battery cable, and this pops off that easily. So this would be very simple. Also, the belts on these are amazing. So all you have to do is get a 1/2-inch ratchet, and literally the end of the ratchet just goes right into this belt tensioner. You slide it down, the belt pops right off. Takes about 20 seconds. So they make it very simple, GM does on these applications. So that's why I think also, these LS, LT swaps, I mean, they're so awesome. There we go, belt is off. Gotta love that. All right, so also one little tip before you start this, you probably do want to disconnect your battery, because this is a live battery cable. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect that just to make sure it doesn't touch anything. You really have to appreciate how easy it is to work on an engine when you have a Death Kart. There's none of that crap in the way, like hoods and fenders, and all that other stuff that doesn't really help you go faster anyway. So this is great. Oh yeah. Luckily these aren't too tight either. Didn't even need a breaker bar. Holy Christ. You're kidding me. Well, that's not good. So the second bolt's actually so long, it's hitting my radiator. So I don't think I can get it all the way out. Let's see. Hopefully, gosh, I really don't want to have to move my radiator. Let's hope that's just enough to be able to slide this out. Check this out. I mean, how many more threads can be left here? We got to be so close to getting this out. So there's 4 bolts that hold it in, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't really want to have to remove it, but maybe we could just blow out like this bolt just to be able to move it back that little bit. I don't think we have much, much more. Look at this. Oh, it's ridiculous. All right, so we got out the cutoff wheel. Let's go ahead and see if we can cut the end of this bolt off real quick. Yeah, worst case, we got to buy a new bolt, but I'd rather do that than try to pull off this whole freaking radiator assembly here. See how sketchy this is going to be. Pretty sketchy, of course. All right, somehow we managed to do that sketchy thing without hitting any paint. Oh, did we mess up some wires though? Dang. Nope. Messed up the loom, but didn't hit any wires. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Cool. So now we just got to get out this part that we cut, chase this, fix this, and hopefully we should be good to go. All right, let's get our magnet. See if we can get this piece to slide out here. Okay. All right, fellas, so my idea for popping this out with a magnet is not too great. At least the magnet I've got is not really strong enough to pop this out. So I'm just looking and I'm like, you know what? All I see holding this kind of entire alternator bracket assembly on is just this bottom bolt here now. So we got, you know, this one originally went into the block. I think, no, that one didn't. So is there a bolt here? Okay. So there's a bolt here and a bolt there.
Yeah.
I think this whole huge chunk of aluminum will come off with the alternator. And then I can just easily kind of pop that, the rest of that screw out. So, dang, wish I would have saw that before I even cut it, right? Because I could have just literally popped the whole assembly off and then just taken it to the bench and then knocked the back of the bolt through. But whatever, this will work fine. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pop these 2 bolts off. We'll see if the whole assembly will come out, and then we can get the rest of that bolt out and be good to go, right?
Yep.
All right, so I got that bottom bolt off. Now I got this one already loose, and I can feel the whole bracket's going to come off. So, geez, if I would have just looked at that, we could have just popped this whole thing off versus cutting it. But, hey, whatever. You live and you learn, right? Now we know.
I almost broke it.
You almost broke it?
Yeah, I almost broke the little wire.
So we'll get this bolt out, this whole assembly will come off, and then we can get the alternator free. See?
Daddy, did you roll?
There we go, boys.
Oh my goodness.
Whole assembly out. All right, so now that we got this, now we got access to the back side, and we can just slide either the bolt or something through there just to knock out that piece, which we just did. Okay, so alternator is free as soon as we get our screwdriver.
Hey, Daddy.
Hold on, Candy. You see this big screwdriver? There we go.
Oh. What I am doing is breaking this one.
All right. Jeez. So now we got it free. Now we should be good. So one thing, when I was looking online, they do sell some rebuild kits. It looks like it just comes with like the new voltage rectifier. I'm wondering if that's all that's bad on this thing. It's only like $44. So looking at this, I think Sort of looks like it's just 3 bolts. This back cover might come off and we might have access to replace the voltage rectifier. So I may try doing that to rebuild it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with our bearing. All that's good. So if this is it, then that may be a simple thing to try to fix. All right, so check this out with this cut bolt that I thought would still be long enough. Epic fail, because it's not even, it won't even go through. Oh, just flush. So, all right, we'll have to go to the parts store, see if we can get a bolt. Otherwise, this may not be something Ace Hardware has on hand, so I may have to actually buy one of these. So, that's silly. All right, so while we're still up here at the front of the car, I am going to go ahead, get some buckets or whatever underneath here to recover the coolant, and just go ahead and pop off just this bracket or just this clamp right here. Maybe it's easier to see on the bottom. Come here, Cam.
I'm definitely in the way.
Yeah, so I'm just going to undo this one here. There's no petcock on this radiator, so we'll have to actually just kind of drop this lower hose, let everything just gush out. It's going to probably get everywhere. Try to keep as much of it as we can. And yeah, then once that's done, I'll let it all drain out. And I'm just going to remove these 3 bolts, pop this up, and just hopefully be able to go ahead and remove the thermostat. And then we'll probably run to the auto parts store, see if we can get a new one.
Did you say rush? Did you say gush out?
Yeah, it's probably going to gush out like 4 gallons, I think, is what this radiator holds.
You can just say slide out.
Slide out,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's going to slide all over.
It definitely will. It's going to be probably everywhere.
Wait.
So that's
Ooh, it is green. Ew, don't splash it on me. Ew, it's like green.
All right, so let's just let that go real slow versus just flying out everywhere. So hopefully it doesn't make too much of a mess here.
I'm kind of looking through the camera
Yeah,
so I can see the guck, but like through the camera.
okay. What's it
Oh, God.
Jesus, what is going on?
Why is there a red thing inside there?
I don't know.
Can you guys see it? It's like red kind
No,
of
I
color.
can't see that, buddy.
Oh, I think it's the confetti. You should grab that confetti out of there. Yeah. It looks like slime. I just want to play with it.
All right, so you know what else is going to help us go faster? Is if
It's
we
to,
pop
it's
this
to
radiator
not,
cap.
no, Dad, it's not going to go faster. It might spring a little. Whoa. Ooh.
See, so basically all the radiator fluid that's inside of here, it's all just dumping down.
Wait, but Daddy, look, it's like down there. So I'm pretty sure it'll take that to fill up too, because it's almost filled up at the top. So
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah, so anyway, we're almost done with this, and then we're going to go ahead and go back up top here, and we'll pull off the thermostat housing and get that all popped out and ready to swap, right?
Yeah, and this is not like poison. Like this is just liquid, but it's poison if you like drink it, because like you can like get sick and stuff.
Yep. That's your pro tip of the day from Cameron.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab this out.
All right, guys, so we got all the radiator fluid drained out from the radiator, and now we can move on to just popping off this thermostat housing. So it's just 3 10-millimeter bolts. I'm hoping that I can just take it and kind of slide it straight up without having to remove these hoses, just because we had so many issues with these things leaking. I don't want to have to mess with them and risk it all kind of leaking again. So let's get these off and see if we can get the thermostat out. Now, hopefully we're not going to have too much antifreeze going all over the car.
Oh my God.
We're getting close to that 1,000, so that's actually a good time to mention. Go ahead and click that subscribe button today. And like the video, or don't like it. Either way, I think it's good for the YouTube algorithm. I don't really know. And let's open the floodgates. Ooh, nothing nice. Ooh, okay. We got it. So, don't know how well you guys can see, but from what I've seen online, you kind of push this down and spin it. This retainer. Don't do what I did. There we go. Oh, yeah, now we get a little bit more coolant everywhere. It's awesome. And there's our thermostat. So this can just kind of go back and hang out like that probably. See, now, one thing I'm wondering is, do we even need a thermostat, you know? I mean, like, we don't have any kind of HVAC stuff. So I'm almost wondering, you know, how this thing would run just without the thermostat at all, right? So now I just got to go to the auto parts store. Some of the guys online said that they were able to get some different thermostats from like O'Reilly's, which that's my kind of go-to local store. So yeah, I'm gonna go there. If we can get a 160, I'll throw that in. If we can't, then who knows? Maybe I'll risk it for the biscuit and just try it without a thermostat and see what happens.
Do you want one?
All right, so the final thing I want to swap out today is the battery cable connectors. So these are the new ones that I just picked up on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to get your own set. But I thought these were pretty cool because right now the ones we have use like an Allen head bolt and then just a regular nut. And it's a pain in the butt to go, you know, get the Allen set to remove the cables all the time. Also, the ones we have right now, they use like an Allen head bolt to kind of push down onto the cable itself, like onto the actual, you know, stranded wires. And it seems like that's not a good connection. So I like that this one's just going to be kind of a clamp on our main. And then I do have some smaller black negative wires that I'll have to actually put some eyelets onto and, you know, crimp those on, solder them on. But I think that this is going to be a more robust connection than what we've got now. But the coolest part is just having this kind of like bicycle, you know, clamp. So if we're out on the road, if anything happens, like even at night, right, if we wanted to like pull our battery so no one stole it, if we're, you know, doing the power tour or something with this thing, we can just, yeah, we don't need any tools. We can just literally unclamp it and then pop the battery off. So I thought this was pretty cool. They weren't very expensive. I think these were about $16 or $18 shipped. So pretty cheap, right, Bob?
No.
That's not cheap? 16 bucks?
16 is cheap, but like if those were like $200, that's really not cheap.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a lot. So,
yeah, that would be really rude.
Yeah, so let's go.
So little.
Yeah, let's go disconnect the other ones. We'll try to pop these babies on. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the red one because it's going to be easier. There's only the one positive cable, but if you guys can see what I'm talking about, you see how this one just has literally just a threaded, you know, regular kind of bolt that just clamps down on all these stranded wires, and I don't really like it. It just seems like over time the wires can break. It can cause some issues. I don't like that at all. So all we gotta do is kind of unbolt this, pull it out, and then with this new one, which also you can see how sweet it's going to be, right? Just click that down. It's going to be awesome. But it's just got kind of a clamp style, right? So this will clamp down onto all the stranded wires, and I think that'll hold it in place a lot better. So we'll see. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll still suck, but I feel like it's a little bit better design. Now on the black one, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. This will be the big one that gets clamped in, and I've got these two smaller ones. So for these, I'm going to have to pull them out. I've got some eyelets. I'll have to get the right size eyelets that will fit through these bolts, and then we'll be good to go on here. So this one I may actually swap it around where the clamp's on the outside, but pretty easy, pretty simple little swap. I'll just come back and show you guys at the end when it's done, but yeah, I'm hoping this will make everything a little bit nicer than what we got now. All right, so we got these battery cable connectors all swapped over. So like I said, this one was pretty easy. The only hard part is this is like, you know, 0 gauge or whatever wire, so it's so fat it was hard to get it in there, but definitely this holds it in a lot better. I feel like long term this isn't gonna like come out and or break some of the strands and have some issues like we had with the other one. And then this one was a little bit more involved. I had to crimp this on. So we already have, all these from when we made the entire harness for the car. But anyway, just did all that. Same thing on this, threw some heat shrink tubing on, got a connector. So I think this is like our main fuel pump ground wire. So we wanted to make sure that was just right to the battery. But look at how sweet these things are. So literally no tools required. Boom. I can pop it right off. And it is very tight once you tighten it. It doesn't even take a lot of force. It's pretty dang simple, and it's on there. I can't move it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and disconnect it anyway because we still got to put the alternator back on when we get the new one. But look at how nice that makes it. I've never even seen these things. I was just cruising on Amazon, and they popped up, and I was like, oh my God, I got to buy these. So again, they were really cheap. So that's going to be it for today's updates. I'll probably go to the auto parts store, get a new bolt. And I also need to get that thermostat, and then I've got to return one of the old relays that I tried to buy to see if it would, work, and it didn't work, so we'll take that back. So that's going to be it for today, and then I'll probably just start the video again whenever my new alternator comes in. Basically, once the alternator comes in, we get that put on, we fill it up with coolant again with the new thermostat. Hopefully, we should be able to drive this thing. We should have no more, not that it was really overheating, but at least it'll be a little bit safer, at least as far as I'm concerned, a little bit safer temperature. I know that these things really are designed to run at 210, 220, should be no problem, but I'd like it to be a little bit cooler, especially being a Death Kart where like the radiator is going to be just exposed to the sun. It may end up all that aluminum just getting kind of hot. I don't know. So that was what I was worried about. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. So we'll catch you guys either tomorrow or maybe the next day, whenever this new alternator comes in.